Welcome to Less Lossy Reviews. This is my review for Babyeagle and the Proud Mothers and their brand new album called Bone Soldiers. So Babyeagle is the solo project of Stephen Lamp, who's a guitarist from Constantine's, and his solo project is with a group, I'm assuming, the Proud Mothers, and it's sort of his first sort of solo project that he's done past the the last Constantine's album was in 2008. And it's neat to sort of see how he's progressed in a completely different way with, I don't want to say a punk album, it's not really, but what it is it's very garage sounding with a little bit of punk influences. And it's a very interesting album in terms of what you've looked at in the past with the Constantines. Bone Soldiers starts off really weird. It is a very awkward beginning. And the reason why is because the first 3 tracks that they choose on the album, for me, didn't work at all. They were really poor choices. It sounded like it was mixed poorly, and they chose 3 sort of aggressive sounding songs to begin with when the rest of the album is actually quite soft, and where those songs could have been better mixed in the album to basically give a little bit more consistency with the rest of the album. So it starts off with these songs called Bone Soldiers, the self-titled track, which is number 1, Strange Bodies, number 2, and Rebel Crimes, number 4. And those songs just didn't work for me at all, and they really put out a different theme than the rest of the album. I think that they could have just been better mixed in. Bone Soldiers is interesting because it moves into a really Memphis-y sounding rock and roll thing with a bit, it's just much softer than the early aggression, the first 3 songs that I mentioned on the album. I really like the track Brave Women, and because of there's this really, again, that sort of Memphis-y sounding rock and roll guitar lick at the beginning. And one of the things this album does definitely tote is excellent guitar instrumentation. Really good throughout the entire album. And just that song sort of begins off the theme where we're starting to move into softer songs and like a little bit more less edginess to it and a little bit more just slower and softer and well paced. The song Good Times, Bad Times really displays Steve's meek voice. He's got a very soft voice to himself. And on this album, it's really interesting what he does because it transitions later in Good Times, Bad Times to a way more aggressive sounding voice. So he goes from like really soft and, like I said, meek sounding. And when I say meek, he just has sort of this like mousy voice to him that doesn't have a lot of power perceivably until you sort of listen to it a little bit deeper. Especially I think in Good Times, Bad Times, it goes from some really, really soft to very aggressive when he keeps on repeating, I was terrified. And that sort of progresses on the album in a way that he sort of plays with that meekness and a bit more sharper, a bit aggressive tone throughout the rest of the album. If I could sort of pick an image that would go along with this album, I think personally that it's a late night and you're at your home and there's the plates on the counter that haven't been washed yet, and in your sink there's a couple pieces of soggy bread and like frozen corn just tossed in as well. And it's just that very like honest feel to it with the incandescent light bulb, the orange glow, it just feels really honest, and it feels really like true, something you'd see in an everyday sort of situation. And there is an unsurprising nature to this album. It's pretty predictable. Yeah, so overall, I think that Babyeagle and the Proud Mothers and their album Bone Soldiers gets a solid 7. It's a really good album and it's worth listening to. And although it does have a little more bumpiness at the beginning, it really works into something that's very honest and worth listening to. Thanks for watching my review of Babyeagle and the Proud Mothers with their album Bone Soldiers. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon.